So what you're saying is, within context,
statistically, there are probably more Asian assholes than white assholes. Yeah.
Okay.
Just
wait, you know what? I wasn't. Say it one more time.
Say it again?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it because you want me to say this, but statistically, if we're talking about just numbers here, there are probably...
We'll edit that part out. Go ahead.
Probably more Asian assholes than white assholes.
All right.
Yeah.
I would make that our cold open, but... YouTube is really...
way to start this.
Scoot-doo, blabbity blue, scoop-dee, oh yeah!
How long do you usually go?
Between 60 and 120. 90 is a sweet spot.
Right over here.
You're right here.
Okay.
This is for you. You can put anything you want on there. Your drinks, your teas.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. How do you book your show, Rick?
Same way everybody books it.
You just do it yourself, too?
Yeah. Same with you, right?
Yeah, I had a booker I had Emily LaFord at the Comedy Store helping me for a little bit. But she just couldn't keep up with it.
Why is that?
Because she's booking 3 rooms a night at the Comedy Store 7 days a week. And
it might make her job a little bit easier if she passed me.
You're not passed at the Comedy Store?
Throw up the merch? No, sir.
I just got passed 2 years ago.
I don't know if 2 years ago is a just.
I mean, let me tell you something. When you put 20 years into it, it is. It was 20 years before I got passed. Love the Dragon Ball Z blanket.
You looking camera for me? Let's see here. I also just got some new stuff. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Grant Smith, director of photography of ABC's Not Dead Yet, as well as a lot of other things. I worked on Workaholics and stuff, and he DP'd my show, and I got these new cameras, and I'm trying to figure out how I like it, and he's come in and he's helped me out with the lighting a little bit.
I was about to give you props.
Got this flag.
On the lighting. Yeah.
And this is the
lighting
first.
Is very soft and nice. It looks good.
I actually dimmed the lighting even a little bit more. And for you tech nerds out there, I got good news for you. We dropped our ISO down to 500 for the first time for this episode. So let's see how that looks. Let me finish setting this up. I think I framed me already, but I'm going to focus me again. I'll be around here. This is my focus point. Ugh. Are you hot?
No, I'm good.
I'm asking, your self-esteem. How do you feel you look?
I wish I always say this, Rick Glassman. I wish my self-esteem matched my self-confidence. That's the best way I can answer it.
Thank you to our sponsor, Liquid Death. Liquid Death isn't a beer, bro. It's not an energy drink. It is a beverage brand that has mountain spring water. It's also got flavored sparkling water. They have low sugar sodas, low sugar iced teas.
Gulp, gulp.
Go to liquiddeath.com/TYSO to check out all their healthy, infinitely recyclable beverages and find your closest retailer. That's liquiddeath.com/TYSO. Liquiddeath.com/TYSO.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
I'll tell you, this stuff is good, but not quite as good as August 3rd in Chicago at the Den. You want to come see me do stand-up? I got 2 shows on that Saturday. Head to punchup.live/Rick Glassman to get yourself tickets.
You should go, Chicago. Rick's stand-up is fantastic.
That's right.
That's August 3rd.
Tell me how your self-confidence is so high and how that does not correlate with your self-esteem.
Well, if the self-esteem has to do with, if you were to give me a task or a chore, a job, something to do, I'm going to give you 100%, and I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do a damn good job.
Okay.
I don't feel, when I talk about self-esteem as far as my looks.
Self-esteem is not just about looks.
It's not
You're
just
saying
about looks.
Like how you feel about your physical appearance.
My physical appearance, I'll say this. Let me just give myself some positive energy starting this podcast off. For a 51-year-old comedian who just almost died last year, I think I look pretty good, Rick Glassman.
Okay.
Pretty good. Outside of those parameters, I'm just a regular dude, but I'm very confident in my abilities, not my physical appearance, as you say. Yes.
Remind me, and for the people that don't know, because I think you had a cane last time too, didn't you?
I was on a walker and a cane. I've talked about this a lot.
We're not going to make a meal out of it. Just remind me. It happened
Last January of
happened long-
2023, I went in for a back surgery. I was told was just
But your back was bad, right?
was horrible, and it needed to be done. I was on stage at a show at the Troubadour, and even the surgeon said, "I don't want to touch you until your
Patreon numbers get
your
up.
Patreon numbers are at 6,000."
Right.
And I was like, "We're not there yet, bro." So
I got good news for you, though. We're there now.
We're on our way, bro.
With those free patrons.
But he said until your quality of life is affected. And I did the show at the Troubadour. And for 35 years, I couldn't feel my left leg. It always felt like there was a live electrical wire running down it. And when I was at the Troubadour for the first time, I couldn't feel either leg, and I couldn't stand anymore. I sat on a stool and told jokes just because, we're wired to be like, I got to finish this fucking set.
Well, like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. And I sat there, but I'm not a stool sitter. I've never sat on a stool, but I had to. So then I went back and I'm like, I need to get this surgery. Do the surgery, they send me home, and there was a small tear that was still in it. So they bring me back in, and then they fix me up. And that's all fine. The back stuff is fine. The problem becomes and begins with the care and keeping of me at Cedars-Sinai. That's where they messed up. I have a blood disease. It's all in my paperwork. I was extremely vocal about it. You cannot let me lay still or I will clot and die. And 7 days they let me lay still. And
Did you not remember yourself to get up and move?
I couldn't. I was bedridden. After they cut me open the second time, they were like, you have to lay here. I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
I mean, I physically couldn't help myself.
So what could they have done different?
They could have either put me on blood thinners or, like they did on day 6, brought an occupational therapist in to each day at least sit me up.
Yeah.
Turn my legs to the edge of the bed. Don't make me walk yet. Just get me up. Get blood moving. I'm this for 7 days. So I end up, the day I'm leaving, I clot. I collapse on the bed. I'm telling them what's happening to me. A surgeon comes in and he says, how do you know? And I said, because this has happened to me before. I kept telling you guys. And then he asks me if I'm having a heart attack. And I said, I don't feel any of the symptoms. And then right away I feel him. I'm like, oh no. And he goes, what? And I said, I feel the pain in the jaw, the pain shooting down my arm. And he says, you could be clotting and having a heart attack. And then I black out. That's death if I don't wake up.
Now remind me, at that point, how many patrons did you have?
We were under 5.
You were under 5.
5,000. Yeah, we're over 5 now. So yeah, I'm with you, bro.
How long were you out for?
Rick, I was in the hospital for almost an entire month, flat on my back. I never rolled to my side. I never got higher than 30 degrees.
No, nobody's putting out content during this.
Well, I, like you, pre-record. And I knew I was having a surgery. I didn't know it was going to go like this, but I did know
So
I
how
was
many
going to have to
episodes
rehab.
did you have in the
I
can?
banked 4 just so I could get through January and rehab. I thought I'd just be lightly rehab.
But how much Patreon content?
I never missed an episode. Bro, thank you. I never missed. You wouldn't have known I was in there if I wasn't saying, I put 2 posts. I'm also not the guy that's like, every day, here we are. There were so many people asking, so I made a post about it. Never missed an episode. And had enough to get out. I was on a walker when I got out, and Neil Brennan was my first in-studio episode after the ones we had banked.
And today, your Patreon numbers are?
I think we're at 5,500 subscribers now.
So just 500 more?
About 500 more. We could do better. We could also watch my special Lefty Son on YouTube. They demonetized it. It was rolling along, and I promise you it's a really good special.
Now, what about people who are saying, I want to watch a special, but how do I find it? What, should I just put a link in the description and it'll be right there? Should they just click it?
That'd be great. You can click that link, or you can do what you showed me today.
Search it?
You can say Ryan Sickler stand up. And it came right
But
up.
here's what I'm going to do. I don't know. Do you guys think I should point to some place where you could click? You think so? Boom. You see that? There's a little, I think it's an eye. You can click it and it'll come out. You click on that. Come on right back. Watch this later. In fact, we'll chill out while you go watch a minute of it.
A minute of it. Yeah, please.
Go check it out. That way, if they want to watch more, they can.
Yeah, totally.
You can pause it, but just like,
I'm on board, bro. Yeah. Maybe there's some new Patreon subs coming in right now while we chill.
well, I mean,
I know it's asking a lot.
you'd think if they want bonus content, they would have already gotten it from you. But if they want some new fresh stuff, like a live Take Your Shoes Off with me and Adam Ray, if they want some exclusive episodes, I think they should head on over to patreon.com/takeyourshoesoff. Also, by the way, when you are a member of Patreon, I have a Discord. A Take Your Shoes Off Discord is popping. But we have a Patreon section of it. I'm in there all the time. I'm like, what's up? It's your boy Rick.
Oh, you go in there?
I let people get access to me. If they're like, Rick, tell me, like, what was it like having Ryan Sickler on your couch? I'll be like, dude, we took a walk to get caught tea. When we come back. Dude, special is funny. It's been out for a little bit. It got demonetized at around 500,000 views. Still up to 800,000 views. And you know what? Tell me if I'm lying here. Of course you want to make money, but you didn't do it to make you money. You did it to make them feel good. Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, I do a lot of that, actually. I've been thinking about that quite a bit lately. That I'm pretty proud of myself that I've taken what happened to me as a kid and my background and somehow...
You're talking about when you got... and you didn't make it onto your varsity team.
Yeah.
So everybody used to make fun of you, and they would call you. We'll bleep it, but they would call you a.
Yeah.
They'd say this fucking.
They still do.
They still call Ryan Sickler. And because you didn't make the varsity basketball or football team, and isn't it true that you didn't have sex until you were 50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter was. I donated sperm to get her. Yeah.
You know, I actually just froze my sperm.
You donated?
No, I just put it in your ice cubes. We'll be right back. But I did just freeze my sperm. I didn't donate it. I freeze it for myself.
Wait, is that something we can do as men?
Oh, yeah.
So you froze it?
In case I get hungry later.
But I mean, is it viable sperm down the line? How long can we freeze our sperm in a laboratory? And it's
so it depends how much you want to spend. They have 10-year plans.
For real, our sperm could last 10 years.
I don't know about
properly.
yours. And to be honest with you, I don't know about mine, but...
How old are you now? Mine's 51-year-old
26.
sperm. You love the 26. My 51-year-old sperm's not going to...
Robert De Niro
viable.
just
I'm not saying I
drank
can't
some of
have
my
a kid. I can't say... He did. You should definitely write that in the caption.
Merch.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro drinks my cum. What does that mean? I don't know. I said it on a thing once. Kind of a throwaway joke. But I have a varicocele. I know we were talking about your upbringing and blah, blah, blah,
Okay.
boring. But like me and my balls, I have a varicocele, which is extra veins in the testicle. I had it in 11th grade. You were there. And I had it.
I like how you uncrossed your legs to show
so you
me
can
where
see.
your testicles were. Yeah.
And I had it operated on, and then
you did?
and the varicocele went away. We found out because during a physical, my pediatrician noticed that my left ball was smaller than my right ball, and then we found this varicocele because.
So what is that? Cutting blood flow off?
Well,
or?
it's veins around it, so it's tighter. And also, because there's extra blood, it's hotter down there. So, like, they don't, the reason your testicles are out of your body is so, they're easier to suck.
Right. Of course.
But also to
Can't
keep them
hum
cool.
all the way up in there.
Not without
It does regulate
not without a
blood.
loud woman or a man. So then it came back. The varicocele came back, and I got a fertility check, and my motility, whatever it is, it's like, it's too hot down there. So I could have it operated on now, and then maybe it gets better again. I don't know, but I'm not trying to get pregnant right now. And also, once you have the operation, you have that scar tissue. Why do it again? So, like, if down the road I'm trying to get pregnant and I'm having obstacles, I know that is an option to maybe do. Or maybe I could do in vitro or something. But just in case I don't know, with AI... Who knows what's going to happen to our balls? You don't know. It's all the signals. So I thought, why not? You know what? I got ads. I don't know what is a sponsor this month, but I'm sure it's either a mattress or a picture frame or something.
You're the first guy I think I've known that's ever done this.
A lot. You'd be surprised. There's
Maybe
a
I just
statistic,
don't know.
8 out of 10 men over the age of 30 freeze their cum, but are too embarrassed to talk about it.
Is that real?
No
Okay.
statistics are real.
Okay, I don't know.
85% of all statistics are made up. Have
I
you heard
believe
this?
that. I have heard of that. On the spot, too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of on the spot, shout out to Jeremiah Watkins and the on the spot comedy.
Stand up on the spot.
Stand up on the spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm freezing my cum, and I've done it in a couple places, and boy, is my arm tired. I walked into this place to a week ago, not even a week ago, to freeze my cum. And the guy is being very like, this is what he does. He talks to guys about this, and it's very clinical. And I am not in a very silly mood. I've also been sitting there for a little bit. Also, my appointment was at 1. I don't get to jerk off until 1:50. This is important. Why? I've read that your the optimal hormone levels in your body are in the morning. It's why you wake up hard. It's best then. And if I'm going to be putting these boys through a freezing process for years, I want them to have the best shot that they can.
I feel
so
that.
like they couldn't see me earlier. I'm waiting. I'm like, I got to get this out. And he's telling me, here's what you have to do. And he gives me this like alcohol wipe, and he wants me to wipe my penis. I'm like, I showered. He goes, there's microbes or whatever. So I'm wiping. He's telling me about this, and I'm asking all these real questions. So I go, okay, so I'm going to go in there. I'm going to wipe it. And then what do I do? Do I just take my hand and like, I like joking, like, how do you jerk off? And he thought I was being serious. So he's like answering me on how to masturbate. And I'm like, this is funny and nobody knows it.
Which also means he's had that question enough times where he can just answer it matter-of-factly now.
Come on, nobody's gone in to donate their sperm and not know how to make themselves come.
There's plenty of, well, I'm not saying they don't know how to make themselves come, but I'm saying they don't know this grip. There's people out there that do shit all kinds of different ways.
Do you have any examples?
I have a personal example. I've told this story before, but when I started masturbating, it was the summer between 5th and 6th grade. I have a twin brother, and my mom at that point, we move, and she decides to put me with my younger brother. And
You saying share
like
a bedroom?
bunk beds, and
Right.
we share a room, and then my twin brother, same age.
He gets his own room?
Gets his own room.
I mean, I know not the point of the story, but how does this happen?
We'll go into all that. My mom was not great, but he lobbied for it. Kudos to him. Right. I was like, how'd you get the room? He goes, I just went and told her I wanted my own room. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That's the summer I
call to action.
Discover masturbation, literally call to action. And when she figures that out, she's like, oh, this is a mistake. I'm going to put those two back together because they're going through puberty at the same time. I'm not going to put this young kid in
How
the middle
much
of
younger
this.
is your younger brother?
Almost 4 years, like 3.5 years.
So he's in 2nd grade, and you're just jerking off on the top bunk or bottom bunk?
I was top first, and it shook so much they moved me to the bottom, for real, I swear to God. But I'm masturbating, and I don't even know I have no idea what I'm doing.
I used to do the same thing.
I'm just touching myself.
Do you even know it's sexual at the time?
Didn't even know that ejaculate would come. I didn't know nothing. I just knew.
You just figured out if you do this long enough.
And I'm not even doing that. I'm just cat pawing it.
Right.
I'm literally just pop, 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 pop. And after a while, I start to feel this feeling, oh my God, and something comes out, and I'm touching it. It's nothing fluid I've ever seen before. I've seen my own blood. I've seen my own tears. I've seen my own urine, my own feces. This
poetic.
is different, you know? And I'm like, what the hell? So I fucking love it. And every night I'm doing this. This is the summer between 5th and 6th grade. I just cat paw it. Rick Glassman, I'm not even lying. 7th grade, I'm in line to go into math class. I'm in the back of the line, and I see 2 guys I know well. We're all, you know how it was in 7th grade. You know everybody. You're going to every class together. There's 2 guys I know in the front. To this day, they don't even know this. They're in the front, and one of the guys, I can't hear anything. I can just see all the gestures. One of them makes a joke, and the other one goes, oh. And I see that grip from the back of the line. I go, oh my God, that's how I'm supposed to be doing it. And I can't wait to get home. And that day changed my grip, changed my life, bro.
If that were a monologue at a UCB show, I would run out and I would play a urologist or a cum doctor or whatever. And I would say, all right, so you're just going to go into the room. You're going to want to wipe down and then just
cat paw it.
Yeah, as if like that's what it is.
Just go take care of yourself in there.
Yeah.
And that was the day. So what I'm saying is, if I don't see that, I don't know when I figure out the right grip. If ever. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's dudes coming in reverse grip, whatever gets them off. You know what I mean? Whatever gets them.
So this, I digressed from, you were talking about when you were a child. Mm-hmm. This was before the bunk beds, and I don't know where you were going. Do you remember where you were?
Long story short of all this, my mom decides she's leaving our family. So it's me, my two brothers, and my dad. She decides to split. She's been cheating on my dad. She's now leaving.
Cuts of her jerking off guys like this.
Cat pawing them left and right.
With all due respect.
Of course. And then my brothers and I live with our dad. We only get about a good year or so with him. At 16, we wake up, he's dead in his bed. And now we have basically no one.
Did you tell me what happened to your dad?
Well, what they
Was
thought
this the blood
happened,
stuff that you have?
Yeah, it is now. Well, that's what I find out all these years later. But he died when he was 42, and it was 1989. And every doctor will tell you now that back then, if you died young, they just said it was a heart attack. And now, through technology and medicine, they're realizing a lot of these young people were actually clots that got them. It wasn't really a heart attack. It was something else going on. So I have this genetic blood disease. Everyone in my family, once we figured out I had it, had to get tested.
Right.
None of them have
Right,
it.
good.
Just my dad and me. So
And your kids?
well, that's a TBD on my daughter.
Why, you have to be a certain age to test?
Well, they don't like to test until you really need to. So
What does that mean?
they don't want to just test a kid, is what they told us. It's sort of unethical. I don't know why either. But they said, look, if your daughter's ever going to go on birth control, we'll test her because that birth control is prone to making women clot. If she were ever to have a bed rest from a pregnancy or even an accident, anything, she's a ticking time bomb if she has it. So they think we should wait till she's 9 now, maybe a couple more years. We'll test her and see if she has it. And hopefully she does.
So what do you have to do transfusions?
Nope, I just have to live with it. It's just thick blood. I'm prone to clotting, and the secret is there's no dietary anything. It's just keep your machine in motion as often as you can.
And do you take blood thinners?
I do now. I didn't before, but I'm on them for the rest of my life now. I take
Aspirin?
Eliquis, 5 milligrams. They had me stop taking that because that just also thins your blood, and the blood thinners do the job for it. I used to take a baby aspirin for my heart every day forever, and they were like, just, you don't need to do that.
Because you're doing this other thing.
Well, because I know we have heart disease in our family, but no one had figured out what exactly this disease was.
But you said you're taking blood thinners. Isn't that what aspirin is?
I am now. No, aspirin, just baby aspirin.
I thought aspirin was a blood thinner.
It is, but it's not a medical blood thinner at all. Like
Doesn't thin enough.
Yeah,
Your blood's thick.
Very. I have to take it twice a day. I take one in the morning, one in the evening every day. Yeah. And then anytime I want a surgery or something, like I just did a PRP procedure in my back.
I've done that a few times.
And did it work?
I don't know.
I have.
I did in my shoulders and elbows.
I just didn't want to put any more cortisone in my body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, just put, if you're telling me that you can take my own blood and put it back in me and it's beneficial, do that.
Yeah.
Stop putting steroids in me. But anyway, any procedure I have.
I thought your back was all right now.
Here's
better.
the problem with the back. It's better, but the problem was once they fixed me and then I clot, it's like, well, now you just got to lay on your back. So scar tissue, everything forms there. So I just got cleared to ride a bike 2 months ago. I just got cleared to hike a basic hike, like I shouldn't point. Like Fryman Canyon.
Do you, when you ride a bike, are you familiar with electric e-bikes?
I want an electric e-bike. I've been looking at them, but I'm only allowed to ride like a stationary bike for 30 minutes right now.
Well, let me tell you about electric e-bikes. They're a sponsor. Put up a lower third. I don't remember what they offer. So
Are they really though?
Yeah.
I've been looking for an electric bike. Do you have one?
I've used them before. No, and I want one. I also want a regular bike. I don't know, something about where I am. Where am I going to bike?
Oh man, I used to love being out. Am I allowed to say where we are? Am I allowed to say?
Go ahead.
Cut that out. Well, I used to live and Chandler was my favorite street.
Who's your favorite friend?
Joey. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, it's always Joey.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but do you like this? It was on me.
I do like
I call it a freebie.
Thank you very much.
A Phoebe.
Gulp, gulp, gulp,
I
gulp.
do. I'm sipping over here. Caught it.
Love lids, dude. So, so you just started riding bikes.
I'm allowed to ride bikes now. I'm allowed to do minimal like fire trail hikes, nothing excessive. But PT has been amazing, especially at my age, and I'm glad I've been doing it the last year and a half because I know what I would feel like if I didn't. I remember what it was like when I started, and like we really use measurements and numbers, and I've shifted my hips in such a way. That's the other thing too. Is I also have a disease. It's called Charcot-Marie Tooth disease, CMT disease. It's all doctors. Their names are.
Is this a different CMT?
Different than country music television.
No, but do it into your shirt or something, right?
I'm not. It passed, of course. Yes,
You know,
I know.
That's not doing my
I would
shirt.
go like this.
Yeah.
What would make you comfortable?
That.
Pull up.
You know the trick. If you have to sneeze, you look up and into a light.
Yeah, and then it
'Cause
makes
you didn't do
sneeze.
that.
I didn't. I was trying not to sneeze because I know when I coughed outside, you were like, "Jesus, cover or turn away or
Yeah,
something."
because you just coughed.
I coughed. Yeah,
You didn't do anything.
it wasn't a regular cough. That was a marijuana cough.
Well, I want you to cover your mouth no matter what the reason.
Well done. Well done.
Man,
Well
when you
done,
you have a laugh that no matter what I said that gets it, I feel like, and this is because of your laugh, not because of what I said. I earned it.
You did.
You give a laugh like it's like somebody earned it.
Man, I'm here to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like people shit on my laugh a lot. It's it's either you love it or you hate it, and that's fine. And people are like, "Oh, you got a fake laugh." I don't have a fake laugh. I literally enjoy sitting across from people, and this tickles me. Also, it's going to be an hour and 90 minutes. You think I'm laughing like that the rest of the day at everything else that comes my way? This is what it's for.
I feel the same.
This is what it's for.
I have a clip that I posted of Mike Falzone, comedian. I don't know if you know him. He has the Surrounded Crowd Work show. And you just go in and I don't know what I'm going to do. I get stoned and I just talk. But he has 3 cameras and it looks great. I'm like, can I have this? So I put the footage online and the comments are positive for the people that were able to watch this set. There's a significant amount of comments that people like, I couldn't finish it because there's some woman's laugh in there that they just hate so much. And I'm like, I noticed it when I was cutting it, but I didn't think it would trigger people that much. And like, I'm not that way with laughs. I'm that way with chewing. And
Dude, I was just about to say the same thing. If you're a loud chewer, I get why the anger that builds in me. If that's what happens to you from my laugh, all I can say is I get it. I get it. I'm not going to sign into my YouTube and go shit on somebody's videos in the comments. But I get it.
Most of the people that are doing it, I think, are people that are fans of, because I traditionally don't post my stand-up because if it's good enough to put out, I want to put on my special. And if it's not good enough to put out, why am I putting it out? But when it's crowd work stuff and the production, and it's like, oh, there's some funny stuff, might as well let people see me. So like there are people who come out now when I do shows and they never see me do stand-up and it's like, they didn't even know I did it. It's like, I want people to know. So it's people I think that are fans of mine that were like, Rick, dude, they were like nice about it. I'm sorry. That woman, I couldn't. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. That sucks for that woman to like have to take shit for that all the time.
Yeah, and you didn't pay that lady to sit there.
There's some comments that say I did.
Of course, that's what everybody thinks. There's plans,
yeah.
Right? Could you imagine ever paying someone to laugh at your stuff?
In an effort to where it's not ironic.
It's detrimental
it actually gets in the way. Here, I'm going to do a real set.
Yeah.
It's hiring a heckler.
Yes, it is.
But that you're not interacting with.
Gulp.
When your dad died, how old were you?
16.
So what happens those next 2 years?
Man. So I'm 16. My twin brother's 16. And
I know.
And they bury my dad on my little brother's 13th birthday. I say it all the time, bro. We had a wake and a cake. I'm not even kidding you. We're all crying. All of a sudden, somebody's singing "Happy Birthday," and we're like, "What?" And the cake's coming up.
Who's singing it? Who's left to sing it?
Everybody was doing it at that point. The whole house is there, and it's like,
who's your family? What cousins, aunts, uncles do you have?
What we have left
At that time, was any of your mom's family around?
No, my mom showed up. She came, and my grandmom let her.
And this was a year later.
My dad's mom. No, this is okay. So I'm talking about days later at the wake and everything.
Your mom left when you were 14?
About 13, yeah.
And then your dad dies 3 years later.
Yep.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And you hadn't seen your mom for 3 years.
About that. Yeah, my mom only moved to like 2 miles away and told my brothers, you guys can come, but I don't want Ryan to visit. And told them not to tell me where she lived.
Your mom was closer to your other two.
My mom was not good to anyone, but if we're going to go to who she was kinder to, because again, These are children. My younger brother was for sure number one. So let me put it to you. I'll give you her words. My parents end up going to court for custody, for alimony, for all of it, you know. They had split when we were in 6th grade. And the law in Maryland at the time, I believe it's like an old Catholic state or something, you had to be divorced for a full year before you could actually go to court. Because a lot of people, they make up or whatever, unless you could prove infidelity. Then you could get it done right away. And so my parents are split for a year.
They couldn't prove infidelity?
My dad could, but he just didn't. My dad worked. My dad was a crew chief at Pan Am at National Airport, which is Reagan now. We're living in Maryland. He's driving an hour one way each way. There's no cell phones. There's no anything. His wife's cheating on him. She's got the kids going to the dude's house. She's taking us to this dude's house. It's a very old man. It was a gross situation. And they go to court. Now, my mom has told me since I was a kid, I hate you, you're a loser, you're never going to be anything. So I decide I'm going to...
Because of your laugh.
Yep, 100%. Yep. And because I didn't have any Patreon subs then, bro.
Well, you have to think about it. Yeah, you probably look where you've come from, dude. You know, a lot of people talk about their struggles. When I was a kid, I'm not even exaggerating, I had no Patreon subscribers.
I know, right? Right? Remember those days? So...
This episode is sponsored by Liquid Death Beer. Wait a minute, this isn't beer. Must be an energy drink. It's not an energy drink. It's just an infinitely recyclable can that has mountain water. It's got severed lime sparkling water. It's got iced tea. We got regular non-flavored sparkling water. Listen, man, if you want to be cool, and I know you do, you're going to want some Liquid Death. But if you're also looking to find out some retailers of where you could get this bomb-ass water, and I will tell you something, it's delicious water. It's great water.
Gulp, 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 gulp.
And they are a healthy beverage brand that does low-sugar sodas and low-sugar iced teas. I looked at the ingredients of this stuff. I mean, it's good. It's good stuff. Head on over to liquiddeath.com/TYSO, where you could get free shipping of Liquid Death's mountain water, flavor sparkling, and iced tea 8-packs with Amazon Prime, or grab a can or a case at your local 7-Eleven, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, or on Instacart. Go to liquiddeath.com/TYSO. For real, do it. Even if you're not going to buy anything, just go to liquiddeath.com/TYSO. It helps me out. To check out all their healthy, infinitely recyclable beverages and find your closest retailer. That's liquiddeath.com/TYSO.
liquiddeath.com/TYSO.
That's right.
They decide they're going to court.
Sign up for my Patreon.
I go to the beach with a friend of mine because I don't need to go listen. She's been telling me she doesn't want me. They go to court. And this is actually, as messed up as this is, it's pretty awesome. It's a female judge, lady judge. And she asks my dad, you know, what do you want? He's like, I want my kids. But if you're just going to give her custody because she's the mom, then I think the best thing for the three of them is that they stay together and we don't split them up. The judge is like, okay. And she asks my mom.
Already I know what's happening. And this is that, I don't remember what it was, but there's some proverb or old story or something. I remember I think it was a cartoon, but I think it was based off of something where, like, you know, you cut the thing in half, and it's like, but the person's like, no, don't cut it in half. And you know what I'm talking about? What was that?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
So it's one of those. And your dad knew it too. Your dad was probably slow playing it.
So my mom says, I want my son Todd. Derek, that's my twin brother, can come if he wants. I do not want Ryan. And the judge steps out of her robe, so to speak, and says, I've been doing this 20-some years. I've never heard a mother come in and tell me flat out she didn't want one of her kids. And so she said...
How are you hearing about this?
That my dad went, my grandmom went, my brothers went, my grandmom's sister went. And they all came back. And the judge is disturbed. And she gives my dad full custody in 1989 and then makes my mother pay him child support. And I was like, fuck yeah. That judge, probably a mom, maybe even a grandmom, was disturbed. And she's seeing the worst.
Have you ever gotten her on the pod?
She's next week on my Patreon.
Do you know who this woman is? Could you find out if she's still around?
I do wish. Maybe we
That would be very interesting.
Maybe. This is how many years ago now? We're talking 30-some years ago, almost 40 years ago.
35
years ago. It's older than you. You're only 26.
Yeah, 27 in a couple months.
All right. So, yeah, it's party time now. We're with our dad.
Who told you that that's what your mom said?
Everybody. My brothers.
Somebody
my
told
dad,
you first.
my
Where they say, hey,
grandmother.
guess what? Was there a bedside manner?
My dad told me there was no real bedside manner. He just was.
Listen, your mom said.
He said he knew. He said she knew. He said she said what you knew she would say.
How did you feel?
No different. I mean, I've been hearing it. You know what I mean? I was honestly glad I wasn't there to hear that. You know, and I felt like I would have been made an example of in there and all that, and I just didn't need that.
I really don't think there's a connection here because you were talking about your self-esteem earlier, but that was more physical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in 6th grade, so you're 12 years old, and 12 or 13, and even if it's something you already know that's validated, what is that? Are you asking yourself why? Do you feel like you know why? You can't not care. You could pretend you don't.
I'll tell you, I had such a great support system. All the therapy I've gone through for years too. I've had a therapist tell me again and again, you only need one. You only need one parent to really love you. You really need one.
Right.
2's great, but you really only need one. And I had one, and then he died. But my grandmom and even my mom's mom. Now, grandmom was my dad's mom. You know what I mean? That's grandma. My grandma DeVito was my mom's mom and was very instrumental also, would pull me to the side and say, her own daughter, what your mother's doing to you isn't normal.
Is your mom, was she mentally unwell?
We've reconnected. When my daughter was born a few years later, we reconnected, and I've had this conversation with her. And I said, you know, I've never wanted to give you credit for anything, but every therapist is like, was there substance abuse? And I said, I got to say no. And she goes, no. And I go, which honestly makes it worse. Mm-hmm. You don't really have it outside of mental, you know, postpartum doesn't last 50 years. You know what I'm saying? So what was it? And I've never gotten that answer out of her. Obviously.
Does she know? Is she keeping it from you? Does she not know?
When we had the conversation, the way I describe it is I got everything I needed. I didn't get everything I wanted. I got a lot of, I don't remember that, but I know you're telling the truth. I know that it's true. I know this. And I got a lot of I don't remember us not getting along. And I go, really? And I played that one. I let that go. I go, so you don't remember beating the shit out of me or not? No. You don't remember calling me a loot? No. But I know it's true. I know it's true. I go, okay. When I was 16 and you went to court with Dad, and then I saw her change. I go, do you remember telling the judge you didn't want me? She goes, I do remember that. I go, okay. Well, what would make you think that if you didn't want me at 16, that we were just pals the whole time? You were loving the hell out of me. Like, why all of a sudden at 16 would you say, I don't want that kid? And then she stopped. And I was like, let's just
stopped what?
Stop the bullshit. You know what I mean?
And started doing what?
And started really having a conversation with me. Brought up cheating on my father, which I never even brought up. That was a whole separate thing.
Right.
You know, for me, you cheating on my dad isn't really what tore the family apart. You leaving it. Like, I had a friend, I talk about Joe Brown. Kid's name was Joe Brown, 7th grade. Shout out to Joe Brown, Boogie Brown. And his dad died when we were in 7th grade. But his mom was there and loved him. You know what I'm saying? Like, once our dad was dead, what ended up happening, we had 2 choices. We could go live with our grandmother who lived right outside Baltimore City, or, because we're minors, we can be put with our mother in her apartment where we can stay in our school district where all of our friends are. Mm-hmm. And we were really good at sports. We were just... That's where everyone was.
Also, to connect to what this moment is, you said that your mom showed up for the funeral. Do you have any anecdote of what that felt like for you?
I remember it just, there was so much going on too, because we were popular kids in school. My dad was pretty popular with the sports and stuff. So it was an excused absence to come to the funeral for students, things like that. I just remember feeling it was very fake and, you know, a bit of a production, you know. But this is the man she had children with, and, you know, last respects. I also, as a grown man now, look back and think it couldn't have been easy for her to show her face around my grandmother, because my grandmother's thoughts and ours too at the time were, you put this man under so much stress and everything.
It's her fault.
No wonder he fucking died. Not her fault, but it didn't help.
Right.
It certainly contributed to the downfall. So for her to show her face was probably, I understand it was probably wildly uncomfortable for her, but on the other side of things looks a bit ballsy, you know? But also,
her mom was in the picture already.
Her mom, Whose? My mom's
Your mom's mom was still in the picture.
Still in the picture.
So her showing up wasn't odd.
My grandmom?
Your mom's mom showing up was not odd.
No, that was not odd at all. No, and she knew my grandmom as well, you know.
Okay.
So we have to live with my mom. That's the decision because we don't want to go to a new school and start with we have nobody.
And you're in 9th grade?
We're in 10th at this time. Just started 10th. And my mom decides she's just going to live with her boyfriend. So she leaves us in this apartment, 3 kids.
Without, nobody knows this because the court wouldn't allow that.
3 kids, and she goes and lives with her boyfriend. And my mom would come home on a Sunday for a few hours to do some laundry and then
Watch
leave.
The Simpsons.
Simpsons real quick.
So
and
she was there once a week.
If that.
Didn't sleep there.
Rarely ever
She
slept
get groceries?
So what happened was because we were minors, my dad's Social Security and all that through his job paid us basically a stipend monthly because we're underage kids. So my mom got a bit of a boost from that.
So she didn't have to pay.
Here's the real legal thing with that. That money is supposed to be for the incurred cost on top of your shit. It's not supposed to be for all your shit. You're supposed to pay for your shit, Rick. But if your 3 kids are living with you now and they're all under 18, you're going to get a stipend because your ex-wife's job gives you that. All right? And that money might only be $2,500 a month. Maybe it's $3,000 a month. But that $3,000 is supposed to go to the increase in your groceries, the increase in your electric bills, the increases, not all of it.
Right.
So what also we found out was that anyone could cash that check whose name was on it, and all of our names were on it. So my mom knew that. And we would beat my mom home from school after practice and stuff, and she would have a job, and if she wanted to, she'd swing by, grab the mail. She knew when it was coming. So instead of having the mail come there, or her ever having to come there, she took out a P.O. box for this check, so we couldn't get it. And she would give us, I'm not kidding you, my twin brother, and I got $20 a week because we drove and we needed gas money.
Why didn't you talk to anybody about this? Because you didn't want to.
We talked to everybody. You know who wants to listen to kids? Nobody. So what I find out, I'm telling you, in our school, I was never one time brought into a guidance counselor and asked how I was doing, how things were at home. We just had a parent die because they all think that your mom's there. You know what I mean?
You can't. But you don't tell anybody that's not the case.
Well, it gets out because we now become the kids in your high school that don't have parents, and we're party central. We are the party fucking house, Monday to Sunday, from 10th grade to 12th grade. We are every weekend. We are every weeknight.
And your little brother's jerking off at this point.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure we're sharing. At this point now, the 3 of us share a room. So I'm sharing.
Why?
Because
if your mom wasn't there, isn't there another room?
Yeah, but it was just her room, and it was gross, and we didn't want to be a part of it.
So Party Central. So this is when basically your patrons start coming around.
This is the beginning.
Okay.
That's right. This is the fucking very beginning. So what ends up happening, I'm still friends with almost every one of these guys today. It was an incredible bonding experience.
For $5 a month, you know, it's really benefiting you.
You get the HoneyDew a day early, ad free at no additional cost. And I'm still friends with their parents. You know, it was an excuse me, it was an interesting time because you say, could you talk to anyone? I'm 16. Almost every one of my friends' parents at that time, they're still alive. There's really no one that we can talk to who can really give us insight about what we're going through.
They would bring you to a court.
Well, that doesn't go down. So what happens is it's either go to court.
I'll tell you something, dude. If you were signed up for my Patreon, you would have gotten that support. That's patreon.com/take your shoes off. Where you could learn a whole bunch of fun stuff.
So
and be entertained.
The deal is this. We were very into sports. That was our life.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer, baseball, basketball, wrestling, lacrosse, all of it. And if you didn't get good grades and if you didn't show up, you didn't play. So we had perfect fucking attendance with no parents. I mean, people have later said to me, like, you're an idiot. You went to school every day? And I'm like, I did. Like, you could have definitely missed a week or a day or two a week and just used that as an excuse and probably got there. I was like, yeah.
Sports are such a...
But then I'd probably be like you.
Such a good thing for everybody.
Sports kept us there. And the other thing was the parents knew us, and we were good kids. They liked us. So the rule was, Rick, you can go sleep at Ryan and Derek's Monday through Wednesday if you want.
Did they know that your mom wasn't there?
Yeah. Everyone knew everything because everyone knew my mom was a horrible mom.
That's crazy.
Everyone knew.
No, but then nobody's saying come stay at our house or something?
I definitely had some, I had one lady who I consider my mom. Her name's Miss Patterson, Miss Sandy Patterson. Her son Shannon was like a brother to me, still to this day.
Shout out to, by the way, her BET show.
Yeah.
My buddies John and Allison work on that.
On her
Miss Pat?
Miss Pat, yeah. Miss Pat was my stepmom growing up.
Wild.
Yep, isn't that crazy?
So, and she has a son that is your friend of yours? Or that's how you know her?
To this day, she's still the lady I considered my like stepmom, surrogate mom, stepping in and just really being like the voice of reason. I credit her for a lot of this today. We used to sit down and I would just pick a devil's advocate side of something I didn't even believe in, and we'd just do arguments back and forth about things, and I would really start to see other points, and I'd start to see her talk about, adults, like, and then you start realizing like everyone doesn't have their shit together. You know what I mean? You start to see this. So she knew we were good kids, but the rule was the minute your grades suffered, the minute your attendance suffered, you don't come anymore. I promise you had perfect attendance. I promise you were on the honor roll.
How were you after your dad died? And you're like,
oh, so angry. I mean, I'm not only angry that the one person that gave a fuck about us is gone. Now we got to go live with the one person that didn't. Like,
did you all agree that was better than living with your grandma?
I mean, it wasn't better. It was
what
the
you
best
wanted.
case scenario for the next 2 years. Yes.
And how did your dad's mom feel about that?
Hated it because she didn't drive, and we did. So we would go down and see her often. We would go every weekend.
And she didn't tell on anybody, saying like, "Hey, you guys need to live with me. Your minor's living alone."
I mean, everybody knew what was going on, and we talked to everybody we could. I even called Social Security. So I was on the phone with Social Security. I'll never forget this. Over 2 hours, easy. I explained to them that we're about to turn 18, and my mother gets a P.O. box and steals this money. We get $20 a week. My younger brother gets $10. We only got $20 because we had gas. That's $50. That's $200. This woman was getting thousands of dollars a month, or $200. Okay, in the fridge, Kool-Aid, maybe some soda, ham, cheese.
All of that is gross.
Okay, not done yet. In the cabinet, Martin's potato rolls to make ham and cheese sandwiches, maybe some Doritos, maybe some peanut butter cups. That's it.
I don't need anything in your house.
We're all using our money to, every day we're ordering pizza to be delivered because we hate this shit. Mm-hmm. So we don't hate it, but it's all we have. So right before our 18th birthday, I get a hold of Social Security.
How is your mom able to cash the check?
Because her name's on it as well. She's our
That's
mom.
what you were saying.
Yeah,
so not only is she not having to pay alimony anymore, she's now getting money.
You know how many months of that she had to pay? 2. Once it officially started. And you know what? You couldn't custom. You couldn't say, once my dad died, my grandmother didn't care that we cursed. It wasn't her favorite thing, but it wasn't her. But you couldn't say fuck.
As long as you don't do it in the first 10 minutes of a YouTube episode.
You know it. You can do it right away on my Patreon, though. And
you're saying you weren't allowed to swear until?
Say fuck. You couldn't say. Well, you couldn't swear until my dad died because my dad wasn't letting us swear. Once he died, and we were like, "Damn it, shit." My grandmother wasn't a fan of it, but she was not gonna beat us up.
That's crazy. Your mom just stole that money from you.
So my mom shows up. My dad died right after Thanksgiving. My mom shows up a few weeks later. My grandmom has now come to.
And your younger brother's birthday is December 4th?
No, November 30th. So my dad died on the 27th, was laid out on the 28th and the 29th, buried on the 30th, waking a cake on the 30th. The next 2 months, up until February, maybe it was 3 months, my grandmom came to live with us because my mom's not.
Right.
Like the thing that's really messed up about this, and this is the thing I've talked to her, I was like, you had a real opportunity. You bailed on your entire family, and then your kid's dad dies. And here's your chance to swoop in and be the hero.
For a couple years.
Couple years, be a good person.
A few years.
Throw a hug on us. Nothing. Not decided. Not only that, I'm going to double down and stay away. So my
Did
grandma.
you meet her boyfriend?
Oh yeah.
Was he anything to you?
No, he was also a dick because he was fueled with stories of how awful children we are.
What if you were writing a movie about this and you wanted to make your mom's character multidimensional and not accurate, but just what is going on in her mind? What is it that she is feeling toward you? Why does she not earned? Why does she feel less for you than the other ones, or negative towards everybody? What?
That's the answer I've never gotten. I've never gotten the actual, what did I do as a
You had to make it up.
4-year-old child for you to, my mom has looked at me and said, I started disliking you when you were 4. I'm like, what a fucked up thing to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I could get inside that head. I don't know. We're trying to put rational thought to an irrational person.
Do you have her phone number if you needed to get in
We
touch with her?
communicate now. We've got.
Could we get her on the phone?
Hell no. Not calling that lady.
At least for my Patreon?
No, dude, I don't even do it for my Patreon, which you can subscribe to. $5 a month to get the HoneyDew a day early, ad free at no additional cost.
Yeah, but that's all you get. You just get a day early. You don't get any other content, do you?
Yeah, it's a full episode. It's called The HoneyDew with Y'all, and I do episodes of The HoneyDew with y'all, and
Wait a
y'all have
minute.
the craziest stories I've ever heard.
So
in my
you
life.
do one exclusive episode every month?
every week. It's a week.
This can't be right.
4,
You're getting 4.
maybe 5.
Oh, so it's
sometimes.
5 per episode. So it's $20 a month. That's a great deal.
No, it's $5 a month. You get all 4 episodes.
Wait a minute.
It's a little over
You're
$1
getting
an episode.
4 episodes every
Exclusive.
month. What happens if you end up in the hospital or you're sick or something and you can't put out content?
I'm a bank enough, and you won't miss.
Speaking of banks, you could take that to the bank. Because $5 a month doesn't even get you a chicken sandwich, but it does get you not 1, not 2, but 4 episodes. And you're talking to who? Just Joe Blows off the street, or people that are actually interesting, that know you and that you want to get to know?
Incredible people with really incredible stories.
Jeez, head on over to patreon.com/take your shoes off.
Also, speaking of the bag, you can put that in the sperm bag, bro.
Yeah. You know, there was the first place I contacted. My urologist gave me 2 places. One was a place in town, and one was a place that like you could mail my cum in a box. So I contacted the one in town, and they're still you could go there to get your semen analysis, and they're storing semen, but they're just too full of cum. They will not take my cum.
No more cum here.
I'm sorry.
What happens in an earthquake if that thing what happens do you have insurance for that?
I don't think so.
So you just lose your cum.
Yeah. Technically, if an earthquake is long enough, you could actually, it makes you come.
What the fuck is that? Earthquake. Big one. Whoa. Wow. It's still going.
Excuse me.
I want to just say this real quick. So let me get to this because it goes to sperm donation.
Okay.
Don't let me forget. So my grandmom comes up and stays with us for a few months just to help us, and she's devastated. She lost her son. So the 4 of us are just living in this house. We're driving her to the grocery store. We're 16. She doesn't drive. This poor lady's got to get in the car.
She doesn't have her license. She's not well enough
Never
to drive.
drove. She just never drove. There was only one of all of her. It's a very big Italian family. Only one sister drove, Sister Carmina, who was literally a nun.
Shout out to Sister Carmina.
And she drove the back alleys. None of them drove.
Wow. And your dad had no siblings.
He had one. We'll get to. So she comes out to live, and my mom comes over. And at this point, I'm just angry. I'm angry at this woman that said she didn't want to be with us. I'm angry that my dad's dead. I'm angry that this lady's even in this house now, And
This lady.
my mom. And she's like, my grandmother's saying, your mother's here and wants to know what you want for Christmas. And I said, I don't want anything from you. But what I do want is the money you owe Dad for child support this month. I want you to give it to grandmom so we can go to the grocery store and we can have some real food in this house. And in front of my grandmother, who my mother's known for years, long before we were born, looks right at me and goes, you really think you're going to see that money? And I said, you know what? Go fuck yourself. I've said fuck in front of my grandmother 2 times. My grandmother didn't say a word to me. I know she wanted to say it. She's just too classy. And it's just not from an era that she comes from. So I left, and then my mom left. We get forced into this house. And now we're about to turn 18. And the whole time, 3.0, grade point average. I'm varsity club, vice president. Lettering in every sport. I'm a good kid.
This is how people should bring you up on stage.
Could you imagine? Vice president of the varsity club. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan.
3.0 grade point average.
I was good, man. I made sure I had a 3.0, and this is why. There's two reasons. Number one, 3.0 was the minimum for the honor roll. Okay? You get on that honor roll, you get a free personal pan pizza at Pizza Hut. I was getting that free personal pan pizza.
Scholastic Club.
Yep. Also, I'm very early, unlike anyone else in my class, I'm on my own insurance policy. I'm 16, and I'm paying out the ass because I'm on my own insurance policy because I don't have parents now.
How did you know to even have to do that?
Because once our dad died, the insurance company said, hey, you're uninsured now.
And
you're
you
on
knew,
his policy.
because I know people that are in their mid to late 20s that don't even have insurance. Like once they get off their parents' plans,
No,
they don't even know to do it.
And the other thing, too, and I even tell my stepson this, and he's mixed, so it's bigger for him. I'm like, keep your fucking car paperwork on point. Always have your registration.
What do you mean? It's in case he gets in trouble from law enforcement?
Profiled racially nonstop. So I'm like, don't give him a reason.
And that's a conversation that you have with him? Because I've seen a fair amount of accounts where black fathers and black mothers have that conversation with their kid, but you're the one that had it with your kid?
I don't know if anybody else has, but I tell them all the time, like, have your insurance on point, have your registration on point, have your license on you.
But,
do not give them any reason to give you anything.
Right.
So that's what I grew up being like. Always have, because car was my everything. It was my freedom away.
How did you know to get insurance? How are you paying for insurance?
I'm paying for it because I'm working jobs. Miss Sandy and her husband had a junkyard, and I'd go work there on weekends. I'd do summer jobs. I'm cutting grass. I'm shoveling driveways, doing anything I can.
Jeez, you're like an independent movie.
I worked at a senior community called Fairhaven, where a lot of us did in high school, and it was a retirement community, and I was like a bus boy there and worked delivering food to the different cottages and things. So I'm making my money. But the reason I go back to the 3.0 is because if you got a 3.0, your insurance considerably dropped.
Oh, interesting.
Considerably.
That's crazy. There's enough kids that are paying for their Oh, I guess that would be for parents too then, if they're paying for the
incentive
kid.
too, yeah, if they're paying for the kid. Now it's so I made sure I got that. And I sucked in math. Math was
what
my
a responsibility.
C class. Gym was my A. So I knew I was going to cancel that C out. And if I could just get B's and everything else going through, everything I'm going through, I'm good. And I was.
Sounds like your math was pretty good to figure that out.
Basic math, I'm good. Once they started throwing numbers and shit, I was like, what? So, I mean, letters. So 18 comes, I'm on the phone with Social Security, and I tell them, and this lady was so nice. And that's the other thing. Anytime I've ever been able to sit down and tell someone the full story, they've had complete and total empathy. And that lady said, that check's coming to you and your brother next month at your house.
But you're 18 now. Doesn't it stop then?
Nope. Here's why. It stops because we're still in school. Nope. So we turned 18 in March of 1991, and you were allowed to check until you graduated. So we would get March, April, May, and June.
And what about your younger brother?
That's
he
it.
has a few years still.
He's still stuck with my mom taking his shit
Why?
because he's a minor still.
Oh, so once you're 18, you're allowed
You're
to
an
take
adult
it
now, and I
until
can
you're
take
done
it.
with school.
And now that I'm a grown man.
Did you think about failing?
No.
So you get another year?
No, it's 18 and graduate. You don't get that other year.
Wow.
So
Was your mom mad, or do you not know?
Oh, bro, furious. And I couldn't wait to tell her. When I saw her next time, I go, that check you think you're getting next week? You ain't getting
And what'd
it.
she say to you?
She went nuts. Better not be coming. I go, you can't do anything about it. Now it's only my name on it.
Does she know that money is for you?
Yeah.
And she doesn't care, or does she
Does not care.
But to be mad and to be okay, nobody knows they're the villain, or at least few people do.
Oh, she knew.
You think?
She's got 3 kids that can't stand her.
Yeah, but she's thinking, fuck these kids. I don't like them either.
I see what you mean. Yes.
So but when you're like, I'm taking the money, she can't feel, it sounds like she feels like you're stealing it from her.
Mm-hmm. Like she lost somehow. This is a loss for her, big time. So my brother and I get this money for, I don't know, 3 months.
Get this money.
It's not that much.
How much?
I really don't remember because I think the total amount was like 25. It might have been like 800 a pop each or something. You know
Per
what I
month?
mean? For a month. Well, I mean, I'm only getting 80 a month.
Yeah.
You know, from
10x.
So now, boom. So July.
And how does this tie in
3rd
with cum?
I'll tell you. July 3rd, 1991. My mom is kicking us out. She says, you have 1 month to get out and find some place to live. I'm like, we don't have any place to live. We have no money. So my grandmom takes us in. My dad's mom takes me and my twin brother in. And we throw
Where's the youngest
the
one?
rager of all ragers. He still stays with my mom because he's
a minor.
14 and a minor, and she gets his check, and he has no place to go. And she was fine having him.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't a good mom to him, but she was fine having him. So we throw a rager, and then she kicks us out, and we go live with my grandmom in July of 1991. And at that point, there's a recession. I've applied for over 20 jobs. For everything from record stores to trash pickup, you name it, I can't get a job. So I look into sperm donation. My grandmother has a huge issue with it. She's an older Catholic lady, and she's like, those are still your children. Those are still your children. And I'm like, they are. I get it. But what I discover in sperm donation, which is different than what you did, and maybe you know this, but
You
people
giving your sperm.
people just cat pawing it, bro.
Just in the cup here?
I'm just like, I'm thinking, you know, I'm 20, I'm 19, or I'm 18 at this point. I could jerk off 20 times a day. I'm gonna make so much money. And what I find out in my research is that you're only allowed to donate sperm 2 times in a certain mile radius, because although it's not probable, it is possible that those 2 siblings could connect. And once I heard that, I was like, well, there goes the fucking cum donation.
That's why you started
window.
that's why you got into comedy.
That's why I got my Patreon, patreon.com/Ryan.
I was going to say, every city you go to, you just go for a deposit.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So then that went out the window.
But did you do it twice?
I never did it at all. I went with my grandmother's thoughts, because it is. I've always wanted to be a dad.
Yeah. That's Delivery Man premise with Vince Vaughn. It's a really good movie, actually. He finds out that he has like 300 kids because he donated a lot of cum.
On my Patreon, I just had a girl who just found at least her father was a Jewish man who donated sperm either weekly or monthly.
But he had to go around
And
the world.
they weren't supposed to do it, but they did it. And she has now connected with at least, I want to say it's 10 siblings.
How does she connect with them? Because it's private.
21 or whatever they are.
23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe, doing those tests. That's the thing. If someone out there puts their stuff in the system, you can find them. So anyway, we live with my grandmother for a year. We're going to community college, still doing all the right things. And then my grandmother walks out of her bedroom and drops dead of a heart attack right in front of me. And I'm giving her mouth-to-mouth, CPR, the whole 9. She dies right in front of us.
How old are you?
20 now. Now we got nobody. Now there's one brother that my dad has. My grandmother has 2 kids. And she had amended her will that brother B, he was the younger one. I'm not going to say his name.
Wait, your dad had one brother or 2 brothers?
One. So just 2 kids my grandmom has.
Right.
So my dad gets 50% and he gets 50%. But when my dad died, my grandmother amended her will to say his 3 children get his 50.
Right. So you each get,
Whatever that is, right? 18, I don't even know.
18,
15 something, 16 each.
18-8. 16-6.
That's it, right? So, but she left him as the power of attorney and the executor of the will. Well,
he
now
fought
she's
it?
gone. He didn't fight it. He just stole it. He just took it, kicked us out of the house. That was our house we were living in, gave it to his son. His son was a degenerate gambler. His son moved in that house that my grandmother had for 40 years and didn't make one payment in the full year, and they took the house. Took it. The bank just took it. I would go back and visit it, and it'd have notices on it, bank owned. And
So he was your uncle wasn't in your life at all.
after that, he was
Before
great.
then.
He was great before that. And then this is what happens when there's a patriarch or a matriarch in a lot of families. That's when the scumbags come out of the woodwork. This is what I'm saying. I took an Afghan from my grandmother that means more to me than any of the jewelry they were taking. I got it on the back of my Wayback seat on my new podcast, The Wayback. Subscribe to my YouTube.
What if people want to see it ad free?
Well, that's going to be coming on the Patreon as well. You can go get that a day early ad free. All right.
$5 a month honestly gets more for your Patreon than any I've ever heard. That's insane.
It's a cup of coffee. I mean, everybody tells me I should bump it, but I've kept it like that. And I don't come from money. We talked about this. I don't speak money. I know people can laugh all you want to. I know $5 a month is a lot for somebody. I
You're
know
making this Patreon plug too genuine right now.
I'm just saying.
Just
Keeping it
fucking
real for you.
But that's great.
Go do it.
But
you can unsubscribe at any time. But also, if you maybe you have this as well. If you subscribe for a full year, you get over a month of episodes for free. That's the way the math works.
How does it know?
Well,
you're saying if you
if you choose to pay for the year up front, you'll get 5 episodes. You'll basically get a month.
Yeah, I do have that set up. But you know what else I have set up? I have I have a Goblin Gang sweatshirt, a very exclusive Goblin Gang sweatshirt. It's black, gold, Goblin Gang. It's beautiful. It's also $500. It is.
I believe it.
It's $500.
Awesome.
And listen. It's a lot of money for a lot of people, but people want it and they buy it. I will say, actually, I think I might want to, I don't know, I might take this out. There's a little secret I have that if you sign up for the Goblin Gang tier on Patreon, it's $50. You get the sweatshirt for free.
Oh, dude.
Also, you could cancel after or drop it down to the $5 thing. And here's another little secret. Could you hear me? Because I don't want them to hear this. You can? Are you sure?
I'm barely here, but I got
you. Yeah. So the other thing is, it's actually cheaper than buying a different sweatshirt because even though the sweatshirts on my website are cheaper than $50, after shipping and tax, it's more than $50. I don't care where you live in the world. $50. I'm losing money.
You're losing money, and they're getting content on top of the sweatshirt.
Content. They're getting, and it's a $500 sweatshirt.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like I should promote it and tell people, but
you should probably do that.
I don't know. I don't want it to cannibalize how many people are buying this $500 sweatshirt because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful sweatshirt. You go to my website, rickglassman.com/store. You'll see all my merch. Also, for a lot of my merch, not all of them, but a lot of them, people know they could use promo code boobs for 10% off. But also, here's the thing could you? When we're back, I'm here now. A lot of people, I get a lot of comments on yes, my merch looks cool and it's fun to represent podcasts that you love. But I also only get merch that is actually really comfortable and stuff you want to wear. You have these people with these stiff shirts, like me waking up at 9 a.m. before I'm allowed to give my cum. Yours too? Yeah.
My stuff's good. I get a lot of compliments on it. And then fans will show up. I'm like, how old's this hoodie? In 6 years. I'm like, this thing looks great. It's held up.
Well, I recommend wash in cold water and hang dry. That's what I do. And also, my sweatshirts, my hoodies are so comfortable. I would give you one, but you're passed at the Comedy Store. Throw up a picture. I have not passed at the Comedy Store merch.
I'm sorry. It took me a minute, though. You'll get there, bro. I believe it.
I want to show you. It's really nice. It's also one of my... I don't sleep in hoodies typically, but during the night, when I'm after my shower, I'm in for the night. I put my indoor clothes on. This brand of hoodies.
That's why I sell night pants. I call them night pants. I have my own loungewear night pants.
Interesting.
I'll gladly give you a pair next time I see you.
I'd like to try them. I do want to let you know that I almost exclusively wear sweatpants. I found stuff like these elastic.
Well, if you do, then I have joggers as well.
But I had these things. I haven't made them yet, but I had them. What's it called? It's on the cardboard. The
design?
Yeah, I have it stitched out or whatever. So I just want you to know.
How do you do everything? You're designing merch. You really need some help.
Well, no, there's also people that do the graphic design work. Not past was shout out to Instagram.com/JackType. But it's a nice sweatshirt.
Oh yeah. That's a great one. Not past the Comedy Store. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, you could throw it. It's fun when I see it out in the wild. Because I see people out in the wild wearing my merch and it's awesome. But when it's
also true.
When I see that one, it's it's a very small niche of people who are in this world that know me that also are not past. So it's not like I'm the model for it.
Anytime someone buys my merch, I'm extremely grateful because merch doesn't go with comedy the way it does with music. It just doesn't usually. You go to a show, you want to buy that T-shirt, that concert shirt back in the day or whatever. music makes a lot more in merch than comics do.
I believe you. I'm not understanding that connection.
Well, I'm just saying it's very flattering that anybody would buy a comedy thing and rock it.
Isn't it the same
versus a
psyche?
Pink
They're just
Floyd.
representing something that they're a fan of?
Yeah, but usually, I mean,
It's not as cool.
Statistically, talking to the merch people I work with, music sells way more merch than comedy does. So if they're buying, they really like you and believe in you.
I think it's so flattering when people come to shows and they're wearing it. I also
I also like the homemade merch. I'm not even going to lie. I don't care if you bootleg something. You come in with your own funny-ass version of it. It makes me laugh.
I don't know if I've
You
seen
haven't
that.
had that? They're like, I'm sorry I didn't have like 30 for the hoodie, but I made this. And I'm like, it's fucking great.
Oh yeah, I would kick them out. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But did you see that clip that went viral with Pat Beverly?
No.
Did you see that one? Let me find this.
Let me see it.
I want to.
What would Pat Bev do?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Before I finish. You subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not.
So you can't interview me then. No
Okay,
disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to kind of get over that hump, or maybe. Was it anything they did in particular, or was it just one of those where the bucket didn't go down, there wasn't the stop, they made one? What kind of prevented that you all from being able to get over, kind of like you have in the past?
You move that mic, please, or just get out the circle, please, for me, please, ma'am. If you're not subscribed to my pod, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So.
You know what? Good for these top guys pushing back on these reporters a little bit.
I want to hear.
I gotta be honest.
Tell me more of your take, because I have such a different take.
It's two things. I really see both ways, but if you're that guy, I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. You're an NBA player.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have to be subscribed to your podcast for me to do my job.
Correct.
My job. I'm an ESPN reporter. I have credentials. I've earned this. I'm not some fan that won a contest. This is my job. So I don't need to be subscribed to your pod. All of us in comedy aren't subscribed to each other's pods. Could you imagine saying someone couldn't come on or you wouldn't go on if you didn't subscribe to their pod?
Also,
that's my initial thoughts. However, I don't know what really was going on there. If he's a dick like that all the time, then sure. But I don't know if he's got a history with this lady or ESPN or if they shit on his podcast on one of their podcasts.
Sure.
Everybody's got a podcast now.
Sure.
But what I just saw, I'm not okay with that.
it's funny.
It's funny.
Insane.
That's what it is. I'm a fan as a comedian of the outrageous ask of like, you did not just say that.
Also, say it, be funny, but then be like, no, come here. Yeah,
He kept pushing her away.
his job isn't just to play basketball. You know, like when I book a television show, whichever one, a drama, a comedy, wins awards, it's still on, it doesn't matter, there's so many. In my contract is also a certain amount of press that I have to do. Mm-hmm. There are things that come with the job. That's one of them. This woman is just doing her job.
That's right. She's not a Yahoo or just some asshole from the crowd yelling or some dude in the back.
I think it's wild.
It's wild, no doubt.
Unless there is something
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
But which, and he's being passive aggressive about it. Like, you subscribe to my podcast. What he's really saying is, I don't like you, or I don't like who you work for. And I don't know. I looking at the comments of that stuff though, I am shocked or how many people are like, good for him. I'm shocked.
I wonder if there's a backstory to it. Because
all the comments aren't about the backstory. All the comments are about, like, they're not good for him. Like, I'm glad he did that. It's more good for him. Like, he has every right to do that. It's like,
no.
I bet you his podcast is going to get even more numbers now. And it's like, maybe, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, man. Another version of this that, like, I do get the psychology behind, which isn't that, but is I remember when I first did Just for Laughs. Is it New Faces or Fresh Faces? What is it?
New Faces.
New Faces. And it was my first year auditioning, and I didn't know much about this. I was like, I had just booked a television show, and it hadn't come out yet. But like, I felt like I had some momentum and like very cool. And I don't have any agents or anything yet. And I go there and at was it the Marriott? What was the hotel?
God, I never did that when I would do them at the Improv and everything else.
You never did Just for Laughs?
I never got to Just.
Well,
no. You mean you got passed?
passed? What does passed mean?
Like, you mean you were accepted into JFL?
Yeah, I did
I did not. No.
But did you ever go to Just for Laughs?
Yes.
Everyone stayed in the same hotel.
Yeah.
Well,
that little Marriott there in Montreal.
Whatever it was, there was like on the lobby floor, there was a bar where people were hanging out.
Yes,
At nighttime, Netflix would get you pastrami sandwiches or some shit. Well, there was I was sitting there in the afternoon because you would go down there, like there's comics and it's a camp and there's friends and just seeing who's down there. And there was a guy who's an agent at whatever, and he came up to me and he was just talking about how funny I am and how much he wants to like we should go meet and blah 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 blah, wanting to sign me and such and such. And I was so flat. Oh, thank you. You saw my set last night. Tell me about, what did you like? I wanted to hear. This is all very new for me. He goes, well, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I heard it was really funny. I'm like, have you ever seen me perform? He goes, no, but I hear you're really funny. And I remember then being like, you're full of shit. You don't know if I'm funny. You just are saying that because people, it's a momentum thing.
If you're here, you've already heard this person's pretty funny.
But you said how funny I think you are, and you're so great. It wasn't until the follow-up question. So I just remember thinking you don't have to think I'm funny. You don't have to subscribe to my podcast.
But subscribe to his Patreon.
But you need to sign up for my Patreon. But when people say that they are or are implying that they are or whatever, and they're lying, so there is a part of me where it's when I was not that your mom is right, but what is she thinking? What's the psychology?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be is Pat Beverly thinking oh, if you're not really a fan of his, you shouldn't pretend to be interested in interviewing me? But the thing is, she's not interviewing you.
Also, there's no proof. She could have said yes right there on the spot, and you'd have been like, all right, you're going to look it up?
Right.
That's why I'm saying, unless he's completely ignorant, and maybe he is, maybe, I wonder if there wasn't a pre-beef.
If anybody knows about this Pat Beverly, and because the people that were commenting that they didn't like it, they know who this reporter woman is, and she's such a great blah 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 blah. If you know anything about this, leave some comments, and if you don't know anything about it, leave some comments about what you think he should have done with his mom or something. We just need the activity. We just need the activity.
What a 4-year-old should have done with So wait, we want me to get back to the story. My grandmom dies in front of us. Uncle comes in.
I'm sorry.
Loser cousin loses the house. We're homeless. And then I move in with my grandmom's sister, my Aunt Marguerite, who was also in court when my mom.
The sister Mary Clarence.
Not Sister Carmina, but one of her sisters. Okay. There's so many of them. And then I get on my feet. I'm working. I'm going to college at Towson State during the day. I'm working graveyard from 4 p.m. to 2 or 3 in the morning at UPS. Shout out to UPS, Baltimore Hub, Primary 1, Joe Avenue. And I bust my ass, and I make sure I get my own apartment with my brother like I told her I would. I was on her couch for maybe a month or so. And then I lived with my brother for a year and then saved what I thought was a ton of money, $5,000, and I moved out here. And begins
wow.
the
How old are you at that point?
I'm sitting on your couch with my shoes off. I am 94, so I'm 21. No, 97 I came the second time, so I'm 24.
I actually came a second time too at this place where I don't want to get into it again because the other one was in a box. But $5,000 sounds like a lot of money. It's 1,000 months of your Patreon. Yeah. That's insane.
Great, man. It also sounds like a lot of money until you move to a place like this where you're like, I have to buy my own fridge.
5,000 ain't nothing though in 1997.
No, not when you got to get your own fridge. You're like,
what was that back then? $200?
I mean, if you got a used one, yeah.
You got a new one?
No, I had to get the used one.
When I first moved out here, my grandma had passed away and left me $10,000. So I was saving money before I moved out here, so I had about $12,000. And it
goes so fast.
No, I'm saying in the year I lived with my parents after college, I saved $2,000.
The whole year?
Yeah. Oh, I sold real estate. I sold a house.
Okay.
And it was partnered with somebody, and I made $5,000 or some dollars, and then I got a lot of Snapples. And I moved out here, and I had $12,000, and my parents were gonna what could they help out with? I don't remember if they offered to help out with rent or if they offer. I don't remember what they said, but I said if you're willing to, I wanted a Tempur-Pedic mattress. Mm-hmm. I want a mattress. I think it was maybe $1,000, $800. They gave me that, and that's the only furniture I had in my room. I didn't even have a bed frame. I had a mattress and a brown blanket which, by the way, I still have, and it was the blanket that I had here for the longest time. It's under there. That brown blanket was the first. That was when I slept. That was my. I had this mattress and that, and the rest of my money. I never had that kind of money before. I literally at least 8,000 of that I put into Magic the Gathering cards, and I bought 4 Black Lotuses. I got one of them graded. I bought some mocks. I bought these cards, and
Did they pay off?
so I sold them. I ended up needing money. I was working. I was doing background work, and I ended up making needing money. And I would sell them off piece by piece. I used to buy and sell Magic cards when I was younger too, and I sold them all of them probably within 18 months of buying it, and I made a few $1,000 probably.
I just learned about what these cards were. I had a Topps baseball card, and then they gave me a bunch of stuff. And during the baseball heyday, during the pandemic, I had
Collectible heyday, not just baseball cards.
I mean, man, I had rookies that blow your mind. And then I took them to a card dealer and just sold all
Good
of them.
at a high.
And I can't believe the amount of money we got for those cards.
Yeah, I understand it.
And I was lucky because they were just sending them to my home, and I wasn't doing anything with them. I just
Why were they sending them to you? Did you work with them?
Yeah, and they would just
Who'd you work with,
put me
Topps?
on a list. Yeah, but I didn't know they had WWE cards, UFC, major MSL, all these.
What'd you do with Topps?
They approached me about being a baseball
ML
card.
Oh, and they made you a card?
Yeah, do you know about it?
No.
I'll put you in touch with the guy.
It's you. Look right there. Take those cards out. Take a look.
Guys, I can touch them.
Yeah. I do. Shout out to Scott Hepburn, the artist.
So this is how I learned about Magic the Gatherings when I went in this store. I'm like, what are these Magic cards that are so much money? He's like, oh, these are oh, this is badass.
Those are cool, right?
Yeah.
I sell those. Those are my
Griffin,
merch.
Mark Maron. This is awesome. Eric Griffin here. Santino looks good. Bobby Lee.
So
These are awesome, dude.
those cards that TYSOcards.com. Those cards that I bought and sold back in when I first moved here. If I held on to numerous of those cards, are worth 6 figures now.
Wait, I'm sorry. The Magic the Gathering are worth what?
In 6 figures now.
That's what I'm seeing, these numbers. I was seeing some stuff on like a rookie Kobe that was I'm like, these are real numbers that people are going to buy.
Yeah, I have a Topps Chrome Kobe rookie. The refractor's the really expensive one. It's PSA 9, I think it is. You could just set it on the table, like however. I'll fix it. And it's worth some money, but during that time, it was like it just went up a lot, and I didn't. Did you hear something change? That and the Iverson Topps Chrome I have.
I saw
96, 97.
it was a Kobe, Jordan, maybe LeBron, a triple face card, all autographed.
and a little piece of the jerseys or something. in
Yeah,
them?
and it was well over $50,000
Yeah.
for this piece of paper, cardboard. And I was like, wow.
There was during the pandemic an alpha graded 9.5 BGS, I think quad 9.5. May have had a couple of 9s in it, but it was overall 9.5 grade. I think it sold for $800,000.
God, someone paid for that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm an idiot, but I don't see that going up.
So
That seems to be a max out.
it does art and collectibles and gold and Bitcoin and all these things. They're store of values, and the dollar is going down. I mean, there's an equilibrium, but it's not just that these things are going up. It's that they're staying when the dollar is less valuable. And if there's something that's out there, and let's say there's 100 of them, all you need is 101 people who want it, and then it's valuable. I see stuff fluctuating up, down, but on a curve, it goes up. I mean, until collectibles are not something that people are collecting anymore, but when it becomes multi-generational, and your dad collected comic books, and his dad, and you're sharing, and people are still doing these stuff. I still look at my collectibles. I have collectibles that I keep some stuff in my safety deposit box, which I got specifically for collectibles, and
my mom got for a Social Security check.
that's PO box.
True.
I don't keep in my PO box.
She probably had it in a safety deposit box too.
I will go and look at them. I'll just go and I'll take them out. Sometimes if I have a certain guest, I'll bring them here so I can show my guest. And I just love it. I don't look at money.
It's interesting. I read this thing about, you don't look at money. It's a male thing. Men tend to buy back their childhood.
Absolutely, 100%.
You don't see women going and buying the strawberry shortcakes and the Munch cheese and the Cabbage Patch dolls like we do with the Star Wars figures or the baseball cards or whatever it is. It's interesting the way we're wired.
Traditionally, and I say this less about the psychology of men and women and more about the markets that feed them. Women are getting stuff that is making them pretend that they're older. Cooking stuff, dolls, babies, mom, being a baby. It's stuff that they grow into. And now they're not going to want to use kids' makeup. They have real kids. They don't need to they don't want to pretend to feed the thing. Where when boys want to grow up, we want to become things that our toys are things that we don't actually become. We don't become Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right. Yeah.
We don't become necessarily NBA athletes. We don't become these things. So we never reached it. So it's still, you still like, you know, I also think there's something to that. I've never even thought about this before, but there's something to that where like people will complain that, you know, Catelyn Stark, that is so funny. From Game of Thrones, that amazing NBA who's now in the NBA. You know, how WNBA is not making enough money, but like, you know, the women aren't watching it. The fan base isn't there. There's not as much money to be made in it. I don't think that men want to be something that they can't be because genetically we're not able to be it, or it's, you know, just there isn't enough, you know, toxic slime to turn us into these superheroes. Women get to become the thing. Women get to become a strawberry shortcake when they get older. Men don't. And people talk about, oh, women, it's tough because women, you know, once they hit 40, 30, they become ugly. And they 30, women, traditionally women become ugly at 30.
I ain't coming anywhere near that.
Nor could you come anywhere near where this place in Pasadena won't let me.
Now it's in Pasadena.
But women could put on makeup and pretend to be pretty. And they could put on their skims and pretend to not be fat. Where's my turtle shell? How am I going to, where are my fans?
Yeah.
You know, that's why I had those cards.
My turtle?
Yeah, so yes, women are fat and ugly, but at least they could pretend that they're not.
Sure.
Men, we have to become funny.
You gotta wear a shell to hide that fatness. Yeah.
And then no, but listen, a woman will walk into a place with cartoon props, shoes that make them walk like this, long nails, fake eyelashes, moving their tits around, and we think that they look wonderful. If we went on a date, okay, and I put on a big turtle shell and some Wolverine fangs, and I open the door for you, you're gonna think I'm fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So let me buy this shit, so I keep it in a safety deposit box, so I could enjoy it. If women become what their toys are as a kid, if they want to when they're older, we don't.
True.
And you know what? I never thought about this before. Men have it tough.
We do have
particularly straight white men. And let me tell you why.
How hard we've had it.
Because most superheroes, are straight and white. So I grew up thinking, oh, I have hair on my chest. I feel insecure. Wolverine has hair. Not the guy that necessarily plays him, but the character is straight and white. And I don't know if people say Hugh Jackman might be gay. I don't think that matters. It doesn't matter if you're gay, as long as you're a guy. But the thing is, gay women, where are their representation in superheroes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Catwoman here.
No, straight.
Is
Loves
she straight?
dick. I saw a video. I saw a video of Michelle Pfeiffer. It was a cartoon of her, but it was of her, and she was just going like this to some guy, just cat paw and a whole bunch of cocks. No, but yeah, Catwoman loves guys. Wonder Woman loves guys. Wonder Woman grew up in a world of just women and still liked guys.
Is there no lesbian or at least bi superhero female?
You know what? There's got to be. In the comments, what was the other comment?
Lesbian or bi.
If there's a lesbian or bi, put them in there.
Female.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you're doing something that Tom Segura did on this podcast a couple times. Very politely hiding your yawns.
I try, bro.
But we see it.
매트 톰 세구라 포더 퍼스트 타임. 아이싱크 이 라이크 스미.
So what I was saying, by the way,
finally this is kicking in the way I
working.
want to. And why wasn't this 20 minutes in?
Sure.
Because now I'm in the groove.
I feel it.
So when I was talking to you about like not knowing how the audience is receiving me, even if they're laughing, that is interpersonally as well. I have no idea. You know, I've seen you, not calling you out. I've just seen you and very professional, mouth closed yawn 4 times. A mouth closed.
Me?
You.
4 times?
Cut to him.
I want to see the yawns.
When you get by somebody and listen, I would never invite girls JFL with me 1 year. So what could you bring to it that you don't get from other things? I actually forgot, and it's probably too late now. It's really hard to try something. To try something new.
I could have been reading it wrong.
Yeah, I think it was just probably like swallowing air.
But let me tell you something about yawns that I learned. I've learned from therapy, specifically the EMDR therapy I've gone to, because I would yawn in it.
Right?
And I would be like, oh, I'm sorry. And she's like, don't. You're comfortable. You're relaxed. You feel safe here. So I want you to know that my yawns
I'm not offended. I'm just saying
zero
open,
indication
you yawn.
of, okay.
You're hiding your yawns.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable here and relaxed, and I feel safe. So, yeah, I yawned a couple times. I was just trying to be respectful.
Politician.
I do.
I'm only yawning because I'm safe with you.
I feel safe here.
Yeah.
And it's clean socks.
Uh-huh. Yo, you want to show them off? You got them straight out of the pack. Pack fresh.
Straight out of the pack. Some Under Armours. Just brand new black socks, bro.
Also, I'm sure it's not obvious. People actually never know when people are joking, and it's insane to me. But I was joking about all that stuff with the women and the stuff because I have to imagine, I can't think of them. I would argue that there's got to be tons of lesbo superheroes. And I can't think of them.
I'm not a superhero. Like, I don't go deep in that realm. So I'm sure there's a whole world of it that we don't even know about.
Just real quick, I just want, before you have to hide your next yawn.
It's coming. Now you said it.
Lesbian superheroes.
Oh, I felt good.
Yeah, here's
probably a whole world of them out there.
Here's a picture of one.
I was waiting to. I felt
lesbian superheroes. I don't know who's backing this up, but Batwoman.
That sounds about right, huh?
Batwoman.
Supergirl.
Wonder Woman. They say is a lesbo.
I don't know.
And then I don't even know the other ones.
It would be factual. I mean, they usually have these stories to go deep on these stories.
Mystique. That's interesting. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is a superhero heroine created by the American psychologist and writer William Moulton Marsden. Is Wonder Woman a lesbian? Let's work backward. Bisexuality front and center. Well, look here's this comic book strip I'll put up. You also yeah, she might be a lesbian. I think that's great.
God bless her.
Yeah. Do you care what people suck and fuck?
No.
If you were racist or prejudiced, which one would it be? Like, what are you closest to?
Racist or prejudice?
Like, would you be racist? Would you be racist towards a certain race, religion, sexuality, gender? What do you think? If you had to be something, like if we were going to get ahead of your mom,
against like stupid. You know what I mean? Like, my father taught me a long time ago, and was the lesson about women was don't hate women because of your mom. I'm telling you, your mom is not normal. What's going on here is not the same. Listen to your grandmoms. Go visit your friends and talk to their moms. And
like Miss Pat.
Miss Sandy Patterson. They'll tell you. They'll show you. And then it applied to everything. He's like, do you think there aren't white assholes? Are you kidding me? There's millions of white people. Of course there are. There's as many, maybe more, just based on numbers of people than assholes, black assholes, Asian assholes.
Well, I get what you're saying, but statistically, there are more Asian people than white people.
So probably more Asian assholes than statistically.
So what you're saying is, within context, Ryan, what I'd like you to say is you would say there are more Asian assholes than white assholes. Go ahead.
Statistically, there are probably more Asian assholes than white assholes. Yeah.
Okay.
Just statistically.
Wait, you know what? I wasn't. Say it one more time.
Say it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it because you want me to say this, but statistically, if we're talking about just numbers here, there are probably...
We'll edit that part out. Go ahead.
Probably more Asian assholes than white assholes.
All right.
Yeah.
I would make that our cold open, but... YouTube is really...
way to start this.
Statistically.
But prejudice, yeah, I can't stand ignorant, dumb, I just... That's where I lose my shit.
Who do you think in our world, in no particular order, they don't even be the most, but name on the higher end 3 of the smarter comedians and 3 of the dumber comedians?
That's a tough one because you have to look like Dr. Ken, for example, is an actual doctor. So I would have to say
Stand-up comedians.
he's a stand-up comedian.
Oh.
He was. I mean, he does his America's Got or Masked Singer and stuff now. But he started as a stand-up. So I'd say,
Yeah, I remember I saw this. He did something on Def Jam years ago. But
Cerebral.
That's cerebral, just smarter. Like if you had to be,
I think Tom Segura is very intelligent.
okay,
I find Jesselnick to be a very intelligent person. It's a tough one because I just think, I don't know, most of us are so silly. I'm trying to think of a serious.
Doesn't have to be serious.
Do we have to know him?
No.
Then I would say, I mean, well, you'd have to go with Chappelle through the ups and downs and the career span to say he's pretty.
No, 3 of the
intelligent.
dumbest.
3 of the dumbest. I would go with. I can't wait to see how you cut this up. So let me think about this here. Hold on, because there's
It's just gonna be you saying Asian people are assholes and these people are stupid.
Well, there's some dumb ones for sure. Let's see. God, I got to really think about
to make you feel safe too during this moment, we could put a shadow over you and change your voice so people don't know who it is.
The mafia stuff. I'm just trying to think of people who had it all and ruined themselves as stupidity, and I'm trying to think of.
It doesn't have to be that dark though. It could just be people who are funny but stupid.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if you're a successful comic, you've done something to be a little more than stupid.
Okay. And when are you running for office?
I'll tell you off camera who I think is.
Of course, you'll tell me off
because
camera
you worked with him. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
That's a pretty stupid thing to do.
You think Ron Funches is stupid? I think Ron is quite smart. What do you have against Ron Funches? What do you have against Ron Funches?
Same show, bro.
What do you have against Funches?
Got nothing against Funches.
Do you know who Lisa Gilroy is?
I do not.
She's very funny. She made this of me. Do you feel it's anti-Semitic?
Let me see this. I don't think it's anti-Semitic.
I don't think it's pro-Semitic.
I wouldn't say it's pro-Semitic either, but I don't know about anti.
I like that. And it does. I see how you could think that looks like me. I also know that this is not probably, you don't do that for a living. So you did a really good job for what that is.
Thank you.
And I mean that. It's making me think of something that I'd like. Dex, are you able to Google something and put an image up? Yeah. Could you look at Jewish propaganda?
No,
Just Jewish propaganda. You'll find something like that
Dex,
in the first. I like this thing though.
Do you feel it captures your essence?
No.
Fair enough.
So your special, which by the way, if everybody hasn't already gone to watch a minute of it, link is in the description. And what I would love, even if you only watch a couple minutes, go over there and say, TYSO sent me, or Glassman sent me, or I'm a goblin. I want Ryan and I want the people who are looking in the comments to see how big of a presence I have in the podcast game.
Please.
So make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe for Ryan's Unbelievable Patreon at patreon.com/takeyourshoesoff. What else, dude?
Subscribe to.
We got to get
my
your mom.
YouTube
I want you and your mom to come on my podcast together.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I had talked to Dr. Drew about it one time, and I was like, how do you feel about having me and my mom on? And he made a good point. You have to remember this, too. For everybody out there, if you've got a grudge or you carry something that's been since childhood.
Handle it publicly.
But also, there comes a time limit. Because at some point, that person gets old. And no matter what they did to you, people can only see them as this older, feeble, fragile person. And now you look like the piece of shit who won't shut up about what this person did. And there's a line an age where you get to, and you just got to be, I think, careful with it. So you don't come across as this bitter, I never let it go piece of shit.
I want to give a plug to Gerard Carmichael's show.
The new one on HBO.
Have you watched any of it?
I have not yet. Is it out right now? The new one?
By the time this episode our episode comes out, they will have all come out. I haven't watched them all yet. 'Cause I've seen all the ones that are out. He actually said he might send me all of them because I want to, like, I think the show is fantastic. I really do. The first episode is my least favorite. And they get better every time, not just because shows do that, but you start to kind of get the tone of what this thing is. I just think it's fantastic. And one of the episodes is in his special. He talked in his like a stand-up Rothaniel special. He talks about his relationship with his family and his dad, and how his dad had a separate family and not only cheated but did it for 30 plus years.
And they didn't know?
Gerard found out when he was a kid, and his dad said not to say anything, and he was too scared to. And then years later, also, by the way, I mean, that's a spoiler. I mean, watch, it's the special, it's really, really good. But basically, when Gerard got older and successful in whatever way you want to view that, like the confidence that comes with being older, with working, not living under that house, he was just one night, he was just like, he wasn't even living there anymore. I think he was in London when he decided this. And he's like, Dad, you need to tell Mom by this time or I'm going to do it. And like they were as an adult. And the dad then told her, and it was what it was. They're all still together. It's wild, man. And that's what Gerard talked about, how like there was these secrets and that he didn't want to have to hold on to, but he has this one of himself. And that's when he came out of the closet. I don't know if you could say gay. I don't know if YouTube will demonetize this, but he's gay. And coming out of the closet, and his mom's very religious and blah, 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 blah. And they didn't talk for a little bit. And
I did see that on the series. What was it called? The last special, or it was a series, wasn't it? On HBO?
Yeah, he did something I didn't see. I saw some of that,
and he had come out, and his family was not a big fan of it. Yes,
but on this, he takes a road trip with his dad, and at the end of that episode, he talks about the dad, and his dad's older, and he's like, "Why are we still?" And Gerard's like, "I'm not. Just because it's in the past doesn't mean." And it just made me think of that, and it's really like. And I empathize as a viewer. I empathize with both Gerard. I also empathize with Gerard's dad. With like, come on, you're on camera, and Gerard's dad is like, yeah, you're only doing this because the cameras are here. He's like, yeah, and Gerard is right. He's like, it makes it easier for me that I'm doing it with the cameras on. I'll be honest, it just is like. And he's like, well, you're making it. The dad said you're making this public now, and Gerard said you made it public when you left our family. And
you started a whole new family.
Yeah.
You made it public.
Yeah.
You made human beings.
But seeing the dad who Gerard has a joke in it where he talks about because his dad walks a little bit with a like what would you call it? Not a hunch, maybe a hunch or whatever. And he goes, he's okay. He's just it's just from carrying all the guilt or some shit like that. Yeah. Gerard has a way of landing jokes that are just like they're just actual things that he really thinks. It's just that's funny. Yeah, it's really like. It's a great show, but yeah, I also think that once the show comes out, because it'll be out by now, but it's still up on HBO. It's worth binging. It's really like, I think you would really like it.
I didn't know it was out yet.
He's very also he comes across in some of it very unlikable. I am friends with Gerard. I told him my opinion on this, and what I've come out with is like. It comes out unlikable, but like, why doesn't he need to come across as likable? Like, it comes up unlikable, like, it's also a show, and he's they're cutting it the way they cut it. But like, I really like how he's showing that. Mm-hmm. Like, he's showing it, not
a real person, not everything.
Yeah, it's very multidimensional. Right. Where he's unlikable, but it's also like, yeah, but that's what people do. Anyway. Check out the Gerard Carmichael show on HBO. And we've been trying to do this for a while.
Thank you. I've enjoyed myself.
You got high. I didn't. If you want to come back on a high episode, I like to do them where I do edibles. And I get really silly. But
come and do an episode of the Wayback.
Whenever you want.
I want you on everything, always.
But when you're high, your belly's showing. I say that as an animal. You're yawning. You're safe. You're comfortable. You don't get silly.
I get a little silly, but it really helps me focus and dial in. It helps me listen to you and not be distracted. I want to be on point, and also it helps me fucking laugh and have a good time for a couple hours, and then I go back to my regular world.
You gonna smoke tonight? You smoke all day, every day now?
No, I have a kid, so I can't smoke all day, every day.
My dad, before I was born, smoked every single day, all day.
Well,
I didn't know it until I was a teenager, but
my daughter does know I smoke because after everything that happened health-wise, I was for sure thought cannabis was done, and every one of them to a man and woman surgeon was like, nope. Ideally, we want you to smoke nothing, but if you're going to smoke anything, it's cannabis.
have you thought about edibles? Because I don't smoke anymore.
They don't work on me. I have yet in 50 years, well, I shouldn't say 50 years, in 30 years, I have been unable to find the magic milligram for me.
Right. My dad feels that way.
So, like, I'll get to 100 milligrams and it's not doing anything. And then I know that if I take another 20, it's going to fucking take me to the outer space, and I don't want to be there. So I just stop, and I'm like, okay, well,
Why didn't you try
it's
110?
not 100. I've taken I can't tell you.
Yeah, I understand.
I'll do it with you one night and
well,
see.
if it doesn't, it's because my dad smokes nonstop, and I don't want him to.
This is the thing. With the thick blood, I've always had a high tolerance for alcohol, and I generally wonder, and this is my basic science, I wonder if the thicker blood doesn't take longer for it to, get
Metabolize a certain
coursed
way?
through my body or whatever it is.
Well,
I
you
don't
would know that if it took longer, then it would hit you eventually.
At some point it would,
and if it
yeah.
doesn't hit you, then it's not just that.
So the smoking works for me, and until, and they will at some point, when I'm still very under I have pulmonologist, I have an oncologist, I've got back surgery. I go to see people nonstop still. I'm a bit of a lab rat. They want me every few months. And once they say I have to stop smoking, then I will 100% stop smoking.
Will you try to then do edibles?
Yeah, for sure. Cannabis is the one thing that works for me. I haven't had a sip of alcohol since January of 2023. And it's not like I didn't drink before, but I don't miss it. I don't go out of my way for it. I do have my vice, and it's marijuana, but I'm not a drinker anymore. And plus, I'm on blood thinners, man. I hit a corner now. I bruise like a senior citizen now. And that just means my blood is very thin. So if I were to drink, it's going to be thinner.
Your blood is thick, and then your blood is thin. But where's that Goldilocks zone? Could you take less blood thinners so it's not thin?
They say as I get older, I may be able to do one of these a day, but it'll be something that I have to be monitored for. Yeah. But you know what? I'll say this, Rick Glassman, and we can get out of here. There's two things I want to be that my father never was. I want to be an old man, and I want to be a grandfather. And that's two things that man, my idol, never got to be. Would have been great at both of them, but just didn't get there. So, I mean, I'm an age now that my father never was, and it's weird to me. It's weird. I'm 9 years older now than my father was when he died, but I don't know. Maybe you feel this way. I just don't. I'll never feel older than my dad. Does that make? I don't care if I live to be 100. You know what I mean? I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it's just that feeling of this is a senior. This person's always going to be older, even if you outlive them.
I have an analogy that's less stakes and not as much of an age difference. But my brother is 2.5 years older than me. I've dated women older than that. I have friends that are older than that. I have friends that are more than 2.5 years younger than me. When I look at my brother and when I look at my brother's friends who I knew since I was a kid, they're older, but they're not. What's 2.5 years when you're 26, 28 and a half?
Nothing, bro.
So, but like I look at them, and also like when I go home and I visit family, my parents are friends with the neighborhood people, and most of them are parents with kids in school, young kids in school. I go home, my parents are friends with them. I feel like, hi, Mr. and Mrs. such and such. They're my age. I feel like I'm the kid.
I still Mr. and Mrs. everybody, and they're like, will you please just call me Bill? I'm like, I can't.
But are they your age?
No, not anymore.
But what I'm saying is,
you're saying you call the people.
I'm saying
age?
my parents are friends with the parents that live next to them. The parents that live next to them are my age. But when I go home, my parents, I'm the kid. The neighbors are my parents' friends, and they have kids. So they have their 9, 10-year-old kids that are playing basketball at our house, and I'm playing basketball with them, and I'm one of the kids. And I see the parents come across, and I look at them as adults. They're my age.
I get it. I wouldn't call somebody my same age. I don't think I would. Also, the West Coast kids are different.
I
Than
don't
East
call
Coast
them Mr. and
kids.
Mrs. I'm saying I think of them as Mr.
I
and
understand.
Mrs.
You see them more as esteemed or a little older because they're your parents.
And also, like, they have kids. I
Right.
don't yet. They have, like, they're lawyers or they go to job. And it's like, even the lifestyle. I mean, as a parent, you don't feel this way, I'm sure. But as a professional, you probably do. The lifestyle is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start filming stuff. I'm going to pretend we're in the back seat of a car. And then I'm going to smoke a joint and just talk. It's like we're kids.
Mm-hmm.
Our job does. So when I see people that are professionals,
I know what you mean.
Thanks. Did I talk about that too much?
This is awesome. No.
I felt like I talked about that too much.
No.
You ever talk about something too much and get a little embarrassed?
Yeah.
That just happened to me.
Don't be embarrassed. You didn't at all.
I'm okay. I'm not gonna.
You also can edit and post whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
At this point,
I love it.
you know, anything we edited out though, you know where you could see it, right?
On your Patreon.
That's right. We got BTS, what we call between the snaps. See what happens between all those things. Let me show you what I mean by that. If you want to see how happened, head on over to patreon.com/take your shoes off.
They'll see how it actually went down, huh?
The sticky thing came off. I have mustaches in almost all my pockets now.
I have my daughter wanted them for Christmas. We got like 800 of them around the house. She puts them all over shit, and I love it.
Oh, you know, I could. I have this double-sided sticky tape that's really great. You could reuse mustaches.
Yeah.
If it's kind of a secret, I found out from Taryn Killam from Saturday Night Live. If you guys want to know where you can get that secret mustache shape, head on over to patreon.com/take your shoes off. Anything else?
Come see me on tour. All tickets are available at ryansickler.com. I'll be out there all year, and check out my podcast, the HoneyDew, the Wayback, and my Patreon.
This was nice.
Thank you.
I'm feeling like I had some weed.
I feel like I did something positive with myself today. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry about your mom and your dad, man.
Don't be.
Your dad couldn't help it.
Nope.
Your mom could.
They almost got me with this. I'm
They
here,
didn't?
though, bro. I'm here.
Your blood is nice and thin. You mind if I can take a Polaroid of you?
Not at all.
You sure?
Yeah.
Will you sign it?
Of course.
Yeah?
I'd be honored, Rick.
Sign the bottom part, not on the picture.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'll
the
put
white border.
I'm going to put a little wax on it and stamp "Take Your Shoes Off." And then I'm going to, for the audio only version, that'll be the picture. People will see that.
Let's do it.
Theme music in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Scoot doo,
Awesome, dude.
blabbity blue. Scoop dee.